On a quiet Friday afternoon in the small town of Brookside, North Carolina, the gas station off Highway 29 buzzed softly with the hum of routine life. The sun was dipping low, tinting the asphalt gold as Colonel James Rowland pulled into Pump 5. Dressed casually in a plain navy polo, jeans, and a cap from West Point, James looked like any other traveler. No medals, no stars. Just a man trying to get home after a long day visiting the VA hospital in Fayetteville. He had barely stepped out of his silver Chevy Tahoe when the situation shifted. "Sir, step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them." Startled, James turned. A young police officer, lean with a rigid buzz cut and mirrored sunglasses still perched on his nose despite the dimming light, was approaching fast, hand already hovering near his holster. His badge read, Officer Kyle Mercer. James raised his hands calmly. "Officer, is there a problem?" "You match the description of a suspect in a robbery reported nearby," Mercer barked, circling James like a wolf testing its prey. James, with the calm born from 20 years of leading soldiers under fire, didn't flinch. "I just left the VA center. I can show you my ID." "I said step away from the car." A few customers started to notice. A mother pulling her child from the back seat of an SUV froze. An older man leaning against a rusty Ford truck narrowed his eyes at the scene. Phones appeared, recording. James kept his voice steady. "I'm Colonel James Rowland, United States Army. I'm not armed. I would like to show you my military ID." But Mercer wasn't listening. "Turn around and place your hands on the hood. Now!" Before James could respond further, cold steel cuffs snapped around his wrists. Murmurs rose from the crowd. Someone muttered, "That's Colonel Rowland. I know him. He runs the Veterans Fundraiser every year." Officer Mercer didn't care. He forced James to the hood of the Tahoe, ignoring the voices around him. That's when a blue Ford pickup rolled into the station. Stepping out was Deputy Marcus Boone, plainclothes from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Department, back from dropping off his son at a STEM camp. Boone heard the commotion immediately. Approaching carefully, Boone caught a glimpse of the man cuffed at Pump 5. Recognition punched him in the gut. James Rowland, his former commanding officer in Iraq. Boone's voice rang out firm and sharp. "What's going on here?" Officer Mercer stiffened. "Stay back, sir. This is a police matter." Boone flipped his badge. "Deputy Boone, Cumberland County. You want to tell me why you've got a decorated Army colonel cuffed at a gas station?" He matched a description. Mercer shot back, defensive. "Did you check his ID?" He was acting suspicious. Boone cut him off. "He offered you his ID, didn't he?" Mercer faltered. Boone's voice sharpened. "You're 2 minutes from going viral, officer. Phones are rolling. You're about to become a headline." Mercer hesitated. Boone didn't. He stepped forward, unclipped the cuffs from James' wrists, and helped him rub circulation back into his hands. "You all right, sir?" Boone asked. James nodded once, quietly. "Just tired. Tired of this." The small crowd watched silently as Boone handled the situation with a professional ease Mercer had clearly lacked. Boone pulled out his phone, recording a formal statement. Who he was, what had happened, and what he had witnessed, just in case the department tried to bury the incident later. By the time Lieutenant Michelle Rawls from Brookside PD arrived 15 minutes later, the story was already snowballing across social media. Boone explained everything in clipped, professional tones while Mercer stood nearby, visibly sweating. Lieutenant Rawls pulled Mercer aside. "Is it true? He offered you ID and you refused to check it?" Mercer stammered. I wasn't sure it was real." "You mean you didn't like the way he looked?" Boone muttered coldly nearby. James didn't press charges. He didn't yell. He didn't need to. The footage was already circulating. And by the time James sat down in his living room that night, still wearing the faint ache of those handcuffs, his phone was lighting up with calls from old military friends, journalists, and even a retired senator. Meanwhile, Boone faced his own crossroad. He had stepped up because it was the right thing to do. But he knew the backlash would come. Departments didn't always look kindly on those who exposed their own mistakes. On Sunday morning, the Brookside police chief, Charles Holcomb, sat in his office with a grim expression, reading Mercer's personnel file, newly leaked to the press. 37 pages. Use of force complaints. Ignored recommendations for psychological evaluation. Holcomb sighed, the weight of the department's failure heavy on his shoulders. We brought this on ourselves. By Monday, the district attorney, Celeste Morton, stood at a podium downtown, announcing that formal charges were being filed against Officer Mercer for unlawful detention, false imprisonment, and obstruction of justice. Mercer was booked quietly. No statement.
No επάλεγη.
James Rowland stayed silent, refusing interviews. He didn't want the spotlight. He hadn't fought through 3 combat deployments just to come home and battle assumptions. At the VA center 2 days later, a young veteran approached James. "Sir," he said hesitantly, "I saw the video. My dad did too. He said it hurt to watch, but he wasn't surprised." James placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. Sometimes, the uniform isn't enough. But that doesn't mean we stop standing tall. And in the end, the real story wasn't about the handcuffs. It was about the quiet strength of dignity. The kind that no badge, no mistake, no prejudice could ever take away.